It is so over, everyone, on Deep Dive Zone, the Sonic review series for fans of all shapes and sizes. I'm your host, Devin, joined by Lauren and Bruce, and guys, today, it's all over, you know? We're ending Return to Angel Island, we're ending Mobius 25 years later, and we are ending the happiness that we had last week.
Yes.
That's true.
We're peaking early here, starting off with Sonic number 141, the final part of Return to Angel Island. I like that Eggman, at least.
That Eggman is very fun.
At least? What, you don't like the rest of the cover?
Sonic's face looks a little odd, I'm gonna be honest.
That's true.
I mean,
everything else seems fine.
it's similar to what I think I've mentioned before, that head on, a lot of artists just don't know how to draw Sonic.
Yeah, but I mean, this is still Spaziant, who you'd think would be the best at it, but...
Well, and usually he is. I think it's just, it's just a little janky looking, because he's trying to mimic the official, game art.
Yeah, the Uekawa style.
Yeah, Uekawa.
Well, and, frankly, it's not the only weird We've got this fucking terrifying drawing of Lee and Daw on the title page.
That was,
Right.
That's weird.
I kind of like it, but, why is she so scary?
This is what she looks like when she is very pleased.
I suppose
Damn,
so.
that's what she looks like when she's pleased. I don't think I want to see her any other time.
Well, I mean, she's a bastard, a bastardess. I don't know, but anyway, let's get into the story here. Ultimate Hero the part 4 is called Ultimate Hero. Ballers in Gray. As the situation on Angel Island grows ever more dangerous, it's up to Knuckles to find hidden strength within himself and save his people. And so we left on a hell of a cliffhanger last time with the return
Jesus,
of Hunter.
yeah, no
Yeah.
kidding.
And we get right into it here.
Yeah.
If
no
there's any
time.
doubt as to what Hunter wants to do after being set free, it's just commit mass murder. He is very focused on that and nothing else, much to Eggman's chagrin.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, Eggman wants him there to find the Master Emerald. Hunter's just here to hunt.
Yeah, he just wants to wreck shit, and frankly, he does a pretty good job between the lightning spear
no
and the
kidding.
egg bumper thing. Still not sure what exactly it's doing here, but it's not good.
I'm assuming it's doing. I'm not very clear on what exactly he's doing to these echidnas.
Well, so I assume that the lightning spear is stabbed in the ground here, and you can see the shocks coming off of it and binding everyone, or at least hurting them.
Yeah, I mean, the bumper just maybe it's a camera.
I thought it was just a communicator, yeah.
Yeah, or it's his way of communicating with Eggman.
Possible, but it looks like he's throwing it here. Although maybe that's the staff he's throwing.
I think that's him throwing the staff.
Either way, it's not going well for those guys. What I missed was that last time Sonic and Knuckles' team is still at Dingo City. They're not actually fighting Hunter yet.
No, they're not.
Which is bad because they don't have all their strongest people. Archimedes basically tells them all to run for it.
Right.
Yeah, and I guess that is just Archimedes' entire point here. I really thought they were up to something, especially with that super evil look. But no, they're just here to warn everyone. And
right.
I guess they're evil again when they're scowling too. I don't get this look.
I don't understand what's going on with Archimedes.
Well, we're gonna see what he was trying to do with Knuckles later on, but yeah, it's very odd. But Hunter bursts through into their stronghold here, and he one-shots Remington, and I assume Finitibus as well, but it's not clear what happens.
They don't make that very clear. And that seems like it would be underwhelming for Finitibus to be taken out. It's A, so quickly, and B, just off screen.
I actually have no idea what happens here, because Finitibus looks evil at him, but then the next time we see Hunter, he's attacking Sonic and Knuckles.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I haven't read ahead, so I just have no idea.
Same.
But I assume that Finitivus made a quick escape or something to that effect.
Guess
I
so.
can't imagine that he'd just get defeated like this. That makes no sense.
Yeah, well, whatever Finitivus did, he's not saving anybody. So only Archimedes manages to escape. But luckily, the heroes arrive before Hunter can take down Windmocker and Lorelei. But Knuckles still cannot fight because they're in the Master Emerald Chamber as this is happening. So he's trying to punch Hunter, but he just falls on the ground.
Right.
So it's kind of Sonic Solo, but he keeps bouncing off the bumper. I guess that's what it's used for, among other things.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, that's true.
It is a bumper.
It's like trying to play through Carnival Night Zone. It sucks.
Oh, yeah.
That's exactly what this is, yeah.
So the Chaotix and company arrive to find the Legion base in ruins, predictably.
Right.
But, well, Leonda and Julie Sue kind of forget their priorities to get into this huge shouting match.
Yeah.
It is... on the one hand, it's like I've seen characters bicker so much in these comics. On the other hand, I feel like this was a long time coming because we never quite get perspective on their relationship, and so having this panel of Leonda looking with absolute hatred in her eyes, saying "Father loved you more," it's like it's a little cheesy, but I like it. But also, it is weird because she killed him, so...
It completely comes out of the blue for me. I was like, what? Huh?
It really does.
What does this have anything to do with the rest of what's going on?
It kind of feels like Ballers felt the need, or I don't know specifically Ballers, but someone felt the need to shove some rivalry in there, or rekindle a rivalry, I guess.
Weird time.
It is a weird time.
Yeah, I think it's just odd because the level of knowledge we have about Luger as a person is so non-existent that I bet you didn't remember that was what their father's name was.
Yeah, that's true.
Mm-hmm.
So for this to be the source of bitterness does not quite work. But, you know, it's all right, because what's coming up here is... Well, I mean, everything sucks, and everybody is coming close to dying, but Knuckles... I don't know if he gets closer to the Master Emerald, or what?
I think it's just that...
I think he's just been in its vicinity for long enough.
Well, I was just gonna... Well, yes, but also I think it's because... Hunter throws some sick burns at him, because this whole time I was like, all right, so when are they going to acknowledge that you know, they had that Hunter was defeated so long ago, and the entirety of his acknowledgement to Knuckles is like, wow, you used to be like strong.
Yeah, you're really underwhelming.
Who cares?
Now.
Whatever, I'm going to kill you. Like he barely acknowledges it,
right?
And then that sets off Knuckles.
Right.
Yes, we get. We have Hunter coming in looking like a Saiyan, and now we get a Super Saiyan transformation. Although I want to mention that these 4 panels at the bottom here, for some reason, are a direct reference to Mega Man 02. The final boss of that game, El Paizo, his transformation has these exact framings.
Oh, interesting.
But what's important is that this is not Gruckles. This is actual, honest-to-God Super Knuckles.
Yeah, and they actually call him Super Knuckles now, because they've previously been calling his super form Hyper Knuckles.
Yeah.
So, I'm gonna be honest. This is still almost as disappointing as Gruckles, because it's not the Chaos Emeralds. It's still just for almost no reason.
No, it's the Master Emerald.
The Master... Yeah, sure, you can go super with the Master Emerald.
Yeah.
Whatever. Fine.
I mean, I think that makes enough sense. Again, my problem...
After this, we're gonna see that it's treated much like, oh, he's got his powers back. So, like, It didn't really feel all that different. He just happened to be fighting by the Master Emerald, which, well, then why was it weakening him before, and now suddenly he can use it? That's another question.
I mean, that's a good question.
This
Yeah,
just feels very contrived, as all other Knuckles wins have up to this point for a while, anyway.
I
Kind
think
of, yeah.
I think what I would have done is because this was what Archimedes was trying to get to happen before. I think because he has his little
Huh.
like evil smirk when Knuckles is about to transform. You can see him next to Win and Lorelei on that page there.
Oh, that's very easy to miss.
Yeah.
But why he would not just tell Knuckles to get
Have
closer
him,
to the Emerald?
well, just have him tell Knuckles, hey, here's how you get your powers back. But and just have it be Knuckles hasn't had the chance to do this until this moment.
Yeah, well, that's what I would have is he would shout it at him during this like, oh, maybe he planned to have it earlier,
Right.
but we're out of time, and so Knuckles has to maybe endure that pain and purposefully get to the Emerald or something.
Right. I think that would definitely make more sense.
But I do want to say I don't think it's quite the same as Gruckles because the actual extent of his abilities here are much more what we'd expect from a normal super
Yeah.
transformation, which is to say he's mostly just really strong and flies.
Right. Which, yeah, it's just a super form.
And, you know, you are correct, Lauren, that he does literally say, my chaos powers have returned at the end, but we're not going to see any kind of gruckling antics go on here. When he says that, it mostly just means that he can glide and be strong again.
I think my point really is not that it's the same as Gruckles and overpowered beyond all belief. It's within the bounds that we expect, but it again just happens to Knuckles. He doesn't do anything.
It is,
That's
yeah,
the
it
problem.
doesn't feel super deserved.
Yeah.
Unless simply going through pain is enough, I guess. But
Which I guess that is. I guess that's the deserved part, is just he went through all that pain.
it feels like he would have to have gone through some kind of personal journey to get here, but they do just kind of give it to him.
Yeah.
Also, everyone's chanting that Avatar thing again, including even the Dark Legion at this point. So it very much feels just like a continuation of what we've been doing before.
Yeah,
That's true.
At the very least, he still fights like Knuckles would, at least.
Right.
He breaks through the top of the cavern and flings Hunter miles and miles off the island into the sea.
Something tells me we're never going to see Hunter again.
I mean, I didn't expect to see him again already. So
No,
yes.
I mean, yeah, I didn't expect to see him again, period. But, like, after that, I don't think we're going to see him again.
I don't know if Ballers or Penders ever had plans for the guy, but there is a line in a later Flynn comic where Eggman's like, yeah, that little shit couldn't even survive a fall into the ocean, so...
Jesus!
and yeah, the Dark Legion do cheer him on. I would say at least seeing is believing in that regard.
Yes, it's still weird the Dark Legion would be, because they weren't doing the Avatar chanting previously.
It really does Knuckles feel like, oh yeah, Knuckles is just the prophesied savior, and so no one's going to question him, except the ones that really will never have their mind changed, i.e. Leonda.
I will say that I don't think that the Ancient Walker prophecy thing should be real.
No, it should just be... I don't know.
It's just that it's the power of suggestion and confirmation biases. I can believe, Knuckles can still go super and be cool and win, but you don't have to textually represent it as the prophecy coming true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But in any case, yeah, so all the Dingo Regiment runs off through the warp rings, which is odd because I don't know who's making the warp rings at this point.
I was Finitivus, but
well, I thought it was too, because that's what the rings that he has around his arms and legs are, but I don't imagine he can just give them an escape.
Yeah.
Especially since Archimedes, this is why I thought it was the case, is that Archimedes says Remington and Finitivus were both casualties of Hunter's Chaos Spear, which is not true, because neither of them died.
Right.
Oh, okay. Good. I didn't expect Finitifus to be dead, but no, I kind of half thought maybe Remington was dead, which would make me a little sad.
I guess, yeah. I don't know. Remington seems like he's been built up enough of a important character that they wouldn't just kill him off like that.
They wouldn't show it off screen like that, I don't think.
Right. Yeah, they would kill him off, but like in a relatively, I don't know.
Yeah. Let's give some credit to this absolutely unhinged drawing of Eggman upset at losing here.
Yes. What the heck?
They do mention that they're going to move the Master Emerald to a new hiding place, which you'd think would be the altar from the games, but it's not.
Was it not already at the altar?
Yeah, I thought it was already at the altar.
With the games?
I mean, they're in Hidden Palace now, but Knuckles blew up the ceiling, so...
So it's not so Hidden Palace now.
Lian Da does acknowledge Remington as family here, which is probably pretty confusing for anyone who hasn't read ahead. We already went over how she's related to him, but...
I would have been completely confused if you had said that,
yeah.
Well, and it's such a just useless information tidbit to have Remington be Kragok's son, because Kragok is dead, and Benedict was the one blackmailing him, but he exploded, and Remington barely interacts with the Legion. So...
Right.
And the writers would have you believe that he just died anyway, so what difference does it make?
Yeah.
I guess... It can't just be a retcon that him or Finitivus is alive, because they wouldn't have had Finny look like evil at Hunter in that one panel if he was just gonna be unceremoniously killed off.
Shit, they wouldn't have given him such a fairly intricate design if they were gonna kill him off so fast.
You realize they could have killed off Remington and not Finitivus.
Well, I assume Finitivus isn't dead.
I know what I suspected was the case, actually.
Anywho, I will say, I really like this last scene, because everybody is heading home, and Locke is very happy to have his son back, but Knuckles is like, no, I gotta go, man. I can't stay here.
Yeah, I made a promise.
Well, Knuckles is convinced that the best way to protect Angel Island is to defeat Dr. Eggman.
Right, which makes sense.
Locke wants him to sit around following Daddy's orders as a guardian.
Yeah, Knuckles is finally thinking for himself.
And Knuckles says no! And means it. Penders could never do that shit.
Man, and yet Locke is still a bastard about it.
Oh yeah, they part on bad terms, which is...
fucking annoying. I was really hoping when he wasn't being written by Penders, Locke would actually not be a horrible person.
I think it is a part of his character at this point that he sucks.
Yeah.
And
It would be a little hard to dial that back, at least in one go. Although I guess time has passed. I don't know. Who knows in the future. But yeah, this moment is funny because it's like, oh, Knuckles is acting like he does in the games, where he doesn't really care about guarding Angel Island and rather go help Sonic and co.
Right.
I don't know if I'd go that. You're not wrong. I think
it is honestly justified given how many other people are on Angel Island. It's not like there aren't others who can guard it.
Also, Locke is there. He's also a guardian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's not forget that little fact.
And frankly, Knuckles is just right here.
Yeah.
Because Eggman is even more of a threat in these comics than he is in the games, frankly.
Oh,
and
yeah.
You can see this no better than in this final page, which shows Eggman has developed a replacement for roboticization, and it is more dangerous than ever before, frankly.
Yeah,
This is... They end up calling this the Egg Vineyard, each grape here being a life-draining device for power.
Oh boy.
They got Bimmy.
I know, they got Bimmy.
They got Bimmy. I'm glad we remembered Bimmy. And yeah, all of the echidnas. I assume this might have been what Hunter was actually doing. Is that he was?
Yeah, that's what I assume. He was catching them.
Yeah, and very, very bad.
Yeah.
This is.
Yeah, no kidding.
Eggman is super evil in these.
Yeah, it's kind of it's great.
But that is the end of Return to Angel Island, and Well, the last issue was weaker than the others. I would still say it was pretty good, though.
Yeah, I'd say, it was
Yeah.
weaker, but it wasn't bad.
I mean, I absolutely love the return of a completely unexpected villain like that.
Oh,
And
yeah.
Hunter,
That was
for all
the best part.
for all the nothing that he was originally, they did that nothing justice by at least making him cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean this really proves how much potential there is in a lot of Penders concepts that are just let down by the Penders of
his
it all.
writing.
And yeah, more arcs like this, please.
Yes, let's request the comics that have been made in like 6 years to do more comics like this.
Well, and that haven't had Penders in them, Penders stuff,
And even longer.
10. Yeah. Anywho, speaking of Penders, let's depressingly press on to Mobius 25 years later scenario. Really exciting title. Penders and Butler. Sonic and Knuckles discuss the dimensional problem with Rotor and Kobar.
Ugh.
What are we even doing here? We got like 3 pages of just like... It's not even exposition, it's just explaining that we are indeed here and that this is what we're going to talk about.
Right.
Classic. Yeah, too many words. One relevant detail, though, is that Kobar was apparently Leonda's chief scientist, and that's a bad thing. That's why they're...
Is it even that bad of a thing now?
I just mean that's why.
No, I know. I just... Sonic immediately is like, you're Leonda's chief scientist. Me, I don't like you.
Well, yeah, and that's the weird thing, is because, like, again, what is the state of the Legion here in the future? Because Leonda and Julie are on friendly terms here. Yeah,
they're on fairly friendly terms, and Leonda, actually, I think it was in the last issue, we didn't mention it. She mentioned she's on some sort of council for the Kingdom of Acorn.
What? I completely missed this detail?
I didn't see that.
I think it was the last issue. It's somewhere in my notes. I'd have to look for it.
All right, I'll show that on screen when I find it.
If you can find that, go ahead. I know I didn't fucking imagine that.
That's extremely weird that like Sonic would allow that, but then object to some guy who worked for her at one point.
Right.
Anywho, so yeah, 3 pages of bullshit, and Rotor finally reestablishes the space-time continuum is getting entropic buildup because of various interdimensional events that have occurred. That still doesn't really explain why it's a problem for the planet, but not the universe, whatever. But yeah, let's talk about...
I love fake science bullshit, because it almost sounds right.
Let's talk about why they keep blaming this on Sonic.
Fuck you, Penders. This is bullshit.
Yep.
So, the 3 events that they reference here are the Cosmic Interstate. They say the first time he accessed the Cosmic Interstate, which I want to just be clear, this is not the first time Sonic accessed the Cosmic Interstate. The first time was in... Oh, wait, hold on. I was going to say it was in Sonic number 11, and...
This is Sonic number 11.
The editor's note says Sonic number 11, but
the picture isn't.
Is from Night of a Thousand Sonics.
Right. Yeah. That is true. They used the wrong... Yeah, they really screwed up, but they're using... They're referencing the right thing. They're just not showing the right thing.
The thing is, it's still wrong, because at the start of that comic, Sonic takes a shortcut home using the Cosmic Interstate, and talks about it like he already knows it.
True.
I always assumed the Cosmic Interstate was the safe way to travel across dimensions, and there's a whole police force that makes sure.
Yeah, the zone cops are there to make sure people are doing things right.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just a portal that's open.
Right. Yeah. Why would this be so damaging to the time-space continuum?
Yeah. It doesn't make any sense. So the second point is the activation of the Ultimate Annihilator, which Sonic didn't do.
Yeah, that's not even Sonic's fault.
Like, A, 4 different people sabotaged that thing. B, Sonic was trying to stop it. And C, it killed Robotnik. So
yeah, it was Robotnik's. It was Robotnik's machine. If anything, it's Robotnik's fault.
Yeah.
Yes.
Or Snively's fault for the fact that it was designed. It was recalibrated to just kill Robotnik.
Or Antoine and Bunny's fault for loading a nuke into it.
That too.
Well, and like I could almost accept that as an explanation, if not for the fact that they're blaming Sonic, because the idea that like this is happening because of stuff Robotnik did would be great, because like he's still
make more
fucking
sense
with us after all of these years.
Well, and yeah, blaming him would just make more sense because he's done more stuff that affects things like this.
And the third point is basically the same problem, which is that it's the quantum dial. But the quantum dial was going to be a black hole that destroyed the world. All three of the times this happened, Sonic was trying to help people.
Yes. It's all... This tells me right here that Penders has developed some sort of vendetta against Sonic.
It is painfully obvious that is what's going on here, because the story bends over backwards.
Right.
He literally writes the characters... He writes...
well, he's also already written
Knuckles?
Sonic as like a racist asshole.
After that point, Knuckles tries to defend Sonic
So
he gets shot down. So, like, Penders is trying to be like, no, there are no counter-arguments to this.
Well, yeah, Knuckles even points out the Legion has played fast and loose with the time-space continuum over centuries, way longer than Sonic has.
Yeah, they have the quantum beam that sealed an entire city away for, like, I don't know, several months?
Yeah, and Knuckles says he isn't innocent either. I don't know what he's talking about there.
Oh, I'm sure Gruckles did some bullshit, but,
Did you see what he did? He screwed with time, and
that's right, he time traveled, he fucking, like, reset Mobius or some shit.
He tried to remake the world in his image.
Yeah.
That's right, I forgot that he's God.
But no, they did the math, and it was only those three events.
It's only Sonic. Fuck you, Penders.
In any case, yeah, I think that Penders absolutely grew spiteful towards Sonic and Robotnik, frankly. That's why he keeps having, they'll go to a Legion base and say, this is nothing, Robotnik is nothing compared to this. I think it's also... I think he is annoyed with Sonic for being the main character in what he views as his story.
Right.
I think it's also that he just generally doesn't like teenagers or writing teenagers very much, and Sonic...
Which does explain why Knuckles has been written the way he is.
It's why he tried to turn everybody into adults to be able to get to work on the comic at all again.
Right.
And Sonic, if I were to imagine a Sonic that was in his 20s, 30s, 40s, under Sega's pen, he would not be remarkably different from who he is right now.
No, he really wouldn't.
Yeah.
I can imagine that pretty easily, and
I can you can tell that Penders is like reckoning with the fact that he just doesn't like the characters. I don't think. I think he just doesn't like Sonic very much as a property.
Well, here's the thing: we've already established the idea that he doesn't like video games, and I can't imagine working on a video game comic would be very easy or be very enjoyable if you don't like video games or think of them as an inferior medium.
The Sonic series is like his... It's his horsing around, to use a Bojack metaphor. It's a thing that's not very good, but he worked on it for a really long time, and so it's basically all he has.
Interesting.
We're on a massive tangent here.
We are. We get back.
I mean, I think it's pretty obvious that... Like, it's the only thing that gave him, well, maybe this isn't true. It's the biggest thing, though, that gave him notoriety, and so he's going to take as much advantage of it as he can.
Yeah.
And you are right that this is a huge tangent, but at the same time, what the fuck do you want me to say? The ending is literally just, I sure hope we can figure out what to do, and then Lee and Da shows up and it's like, why am I not included in this conversation?
Which shows that she's not in league with Cobra, by the way, so why does nobody trust him still?
Which also tells me if she's not in league with Cobra anymore, I don't think the Legion even exists anymore.
I assumed they didn't.
They don't really mention it as such, so I'd say probably not.
Yeah.
But that is the end of 141, so we will move on to
that was a rant and a half, god damn.
And oh look, it's the other reason that people don't like Romy Chacon.
Huh?
These guys in the back, they don't like
Right.
that much, and I don't either.
I mean,
Sonic and Hope are fine.
Okay, we'll get into it, I guess.
Yeah, we'll get
Okay,
into it.
it's more that these are two more issues that feel like filler.
Oh, that's true.
Well, they're 100% filler, but
They are
they're
definitely
not.
fillers.
They're fine.
Not, yeah, they're
not
perfectly
terrible.
fine.
I don't know. Let's get into it. The original Freedom Fighters. This is called Part 1. Chacon and Art Mawini. When he finds Hope doing some research, Sonic tells the story of the 5 original Freedom Fighters who saved Mobians from Robotnik.
Okay, I just remembered why. I think I know why people don't like these guys, actually. So, wow! Hope gets something relevant. Not really.
Yeah,
but
well,
something, a main part in a story, I should say.
She gets to exist, yeah.
Yeah, that might be more of it. She just gets to exist for once.
I think that it is a smart move to bring her into these comics.
Yeah.
But at the same time, this entire story is mostly being told to her. And it's really just about these 5 other dudes who helped people escape Knothole during the coup, I guess?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that is fine in and of itself. I don't like calling them the original Freedom Fighters.
The name is a little...
feels like they're just trying to give them credit when they haven't earned anything yet. But, I mean, yeah, sure, there'd have to be a number of people we don't know about that helped in the original escape. But when we get into it, I guess there isn't really a whole lot to say here. Sonic offers to tell about them, and then it's story time. It's this flashback from here on.
Yes.
Oh boy.
So I think my problem is I have no issue with highlighting people who were heroes during the Robotnik takeover.
Mm-hmm.
My problem is that they have to be characters, like, worth learning about. And these are dudes that do not have much in the way of personality or design. Maybe it's because Mawini is drawing this, so they all look like very cereal box mascot animals.
I mean, yeah, Colonel Stripe literally just looks like a gray Tony the Tiger.
I mean, yeah, a little bit.
Colonel Stripe is also the only one with any, well, pretty much the only one with any character. For some reason, they gave them all names. And like, oh, okay, we're going to learn about how this team works together. But no, you hear, like, nothing about any of them. Except Stripe is the leader, so I guess he's the only one who gets stuff. This really annoys me in this flashback when they're showing the takeover. And Stripe is acting like... I would appreciate it if they showed that he was all talk and no action. But he has all this respect for some reason. But he's like, oh, Julian's taking over. I knew that was going to happen. Well, why didn't you do anything about it?
Yeah. Yeah, we're learning about this character who's like, yeah, I figured Julian was going to take over. And
like, they're trying to make him seem smart, but that doesn't make him seem smart.
Well, I feel like this isn't the first time we've even heard about a character who's like, oh yeah, I figured Robotnik was going to take over.
Well, and it's more retconning, because he essentially instructs Sonic to save Sally, Rosie, and Jalala, etc., which we don't actually see him do that, but you're adding all of this unnecessary importance. I feel like it's better the less prepared the kingdom was for what happened.
Yeah.
If these guys had like a Halo Reach like last stand moment,
I think that would be a lot better.
But that's not really what happens.
No, and then go to seeing them building Knothole. Just kind of suddenly.
I would have thought that Knothole just kind of already existed, and it was a place that everybody fell back to.
I thought that's even been stated before.
That's what's at least been implied, and now suddenly it's like, oh, by the way, maybe they were just expanding Knothole for the people that are moving in. Oh wait, Knothole became an efficient, cool village we could all live in.
That's really ambiguous wording.
That could mean either Knothole was already there or they built it from scratch. So that's not helpful.
Yeah. Well, and yeah, Lauren is seeing the bit that really pisses me off, which is that they formally declare themselves the Freedom Fighters, which is just stupid. It's the same problem as the Sonic Kids special, whereas, not only is the you're freedom fighters because you're fighting for freedom. That's all that
Right.
means.
Freedom fighters is a term that exists.
And now for me, it's like, now it wasn't even their idea.
Yeah, that's fair.
I thought the whole point was that they were exiled as kids and lived in hiding until they were able to become the freedom fighters.
And start fighting back.
And that's why Robotnik didn't actively hunt them until they were actively fighting him. That's how he sees so much territory.
Right.
But apparently no. Apparently Tig Stripe and... Hold on. Spotlong Serpecker's Private Tray Scales and MP Bullbones. I had to look up all of their other names. Apparently they were fighting on the side this whole time. Until they were betrayed by one of their own. That's our
Oh, no.
Can you guess which one?
I didn't actually think about it that hard.
Yeah, I actually didn't think about it that far.
Because I didn't care enough. I find it... Okay, so if you introduce characters like this, there either has to be a good reason they were never mentioned, or they have to be minor enough that they warrant mentioning.
Right.
But Sonic is like... Stripe was the best. He even saved my life once. I'm like, how the heck did you never mention him before? Like, I'm having a hard time believing that now.
Yeah, that's a very good point.
Well, and this is kind of a hallmark of Chacon, because it's very similar to what he did with Tommy, where you introduce this character that is supposedly an important figure in Sonic's life, but...
I was just about to bring Tommy up.
But we never heard about them until now.
Yeah, that's...
It could only be more similar if you revealed that these guys weren't actually dead.
That would be ridiculous, because then that would raise questions of how they never showed up. And, yeah.
Yeah. And just, I don't know. This is one of those displaced from time stories that, especially because of Mowini's art not having changed in 20 years.
Yeah.
But hey, at least we're back to 3 stories in an issue. Isn't that a good thing? No,
Okay.
This middle story is weird. It's called I Wanna Be a Freedom Fighter, Chacon and Butler, and it's very surprising to look at because we see classic Amy design, along with Sally not having absurd proportions, and this is a story where Amy Rose is treated to a ceremony for her help during Eggman's attack, and formally inducted into the Freedom Fighters.
He wasn't already a freedom fighter at this point?
Well, it's really weird, because, like, yeah, we have Child Amy in the past being annoying, but now in the present, what? We need a ceremony for this?
Yeah, quick question before we get into the story, really. So is it Butler who draws the first page and the rest of it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why? I never thought that there was a formal design change for Sally, so I find it strange that he makes a point to draw them differently here.
Well,
yeah, I just thought it was an evolution of her design.
Well, and that's what's weird is that, okay, the only explicit design difference is her hair. Her hair getting longer is on purpose, but...
Right.
The fact that they change her proportions is really weird because the flashback of the story is set during an era where Butler already drew plenty of stuff, but he was already drawing Sally like he draws her now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, we're effectively getting what would be like a classic Sally here.
Yeah, very, very weird. She also gets the facts wrong.
Yes, she says Amy used Sonic's billionth ring, which is wrong.
Oh boy.
But yeah, just weird story.
Yeah.
Weird, bad idea. And, characteristic of Chacon stories, you can tell that this is from before a certain point. It must be after Home, but probably before Return to Angel Island, because you can see that Vector does not have his chain. That's not his hero's design.
Oh, yeah.
Huh.
Same with SBO's eyebrows.
Interesting.
It doesn't matter that much in this case. I guess if you have to print an anachronistic story somewhere, that's fine. But
This is
also,
a perfectly fine one, yeah.
but also, who cares about any of this?
Why does this need to be a whole ceremony?
Yeah,
Like, just like say, "Good job, kid. You're a freedom fighter now. Go berserk again."
literally the most remarkable thing for Amy in this issue is that they finally draw the Pico Pico hammer correctly and name it.
Yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
Fucking incredible.
Yeah. So, blah. Mobius 25 years later. Moment of truth. Penders and Butler. Sonic and Knuckles' families hear Rotor and Kobar's plan to save Mobius, I guess. This is anything but a moment of fucking truth, I tell you.
It's barely a moment in general.
Yeah. Like, what are we doing here? We have Knuckles wake up and head downstairs.
We get some lore about Knuckles' health conditions because he must have a weak heart at this age because he gets like super freaked by Lara Sue and he's like give someone a heart attack, especially
Jesus.
me.
Yeah, damn, I guess.
As weird as it is, that's consistent with the games because in Sonic Heroes Bullet Station, after you go through one of the cannons, Knuckles is like, "I think my heart stopped."
Oh my god, I remember that.
What? That has to be an accident.
No,
but
it's
totally an
accident.
Funny. But that is funny though.
Yeah. Lara Sue is here to ask about the Guardian thing again, and
she is a teenager. They're annoyingly persistent.
Yeah, I don't care. Neither is the comic, though.
I mean, yeah. These comics need to give me a reason to care.
What really matters here is Rotor and Kobar. This extremely pisses me off because Kobar says, "How could we possibly come up with a solution to a problem that requiring long-term observation when time is the one commodity we don't have?" And Rotor's like, "Time? Did you just say time? Maybe that's our answer. What if we were able to go back in time?" You already said that you couldn't do this!
Fuck you, they're gonna do it anyway.
That did come up before.
It did, yeah.
Also, if you voice acted these comics, they would be way more entertaining, I must say.
I would listen to that. That was very fun.
"My dear Rotor, and I say this with affection and respect, but have you gone mad?" Yes, he has.
Oh, I think you're both mad at this point. God damn.
Well, they were called mad scientists. I might believe it now.
Yeah. They're not mad scientists in the term of like they have crazy ideas. I think they're just insane.
They're maddening scientists.
Right. They're maddening scientists. There you go.
So when they say, "Oh, time travel again," and this time actually we'll do it, I'm like, all right, Nicole, right?
That would be a good idea.
Also, how would this actually... would that work? Because I feel like... How the hell do time travel and alternate universes interact? Can you stop alternate universe shit from happening by going back in time? Because I feel like that supersedes time.
I mean, if you're going back inside, or back in time
wouldn't
to a point before...
have its own timeline?
Not necessarily.
I mean, well, that's sort of how the... Well, no, multiverse theory... Well, no, multiverse... Well, depends on your take on multiverse theory. It's either all one timeline and all alternate universes are just branches of it, or there are multiple timelines.
Yeah, I guess
Remember, it's just the planet that's at stake, remember?
That's right, it's not the entire universe. I forgot about that fact.
I guess in Dragon Ball they have 12 universes, but time travel goes over all of them. Which is probably why they don't like time travel, the gods and stuff in Dragon Ball, now that I'm thinking about it.
Probably. Maybe they're like me and just hate it as a plot device.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, don't write time travel stories unless your entire point is to set up intricate time bullshit.
Or just set up very strict rules that you follow. Fuck.
Time travel is always at its worst when you just bring it in the middle without much thought.
Yeah, that's why the best time travel stories have very strict rules.
Oh, wow.
God damn it.
So, the result of all this, I'm really glazing over a lot of this exposition that goes on between Sonic, Knuckles, Cobra, and Rotor. But
I will say that it is kind of neat that Rotor's like, "Oh, my liege, I must get your approval for this. And Sonic is just like, okay, sure, yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, let's do it, bud.
Yeah, he wouldn't care. He'd like, let's
Right
go save the day.
after, literally within moments of him talking to Sally, being like, "Damn, I'm not sure if I'm cut out to be king."
Well, he can take action. That's one thing he's good at.
Yeah, that's true. This is the one part of being king he probably is actually good at.
Well, it's because it's the part that doesn't require him to act like a king. Frankly, I think if you wanted to portray Sonic in this way, you should have been like, hey, don't call me king. I'm not going to wear a fucking crown. You know?
He hates being a bureaucrat. We've established this multiple times.
Yeah. But the result of all this, thankfully, something, is that after, like, I don't know, what has it been, like 11 issues of this?
God, I don't even want to think about how many.
But we have an actual job to do, which is that someone has to go back in time to do something to stop the planet from growing up.
Yeah, they're not really making it clear exactly what they're going to be doing when they go back in time.
I also said growing up instead of blowing up, but
whatever.
Yeah, so I have no idea what they're going... Because, like, are they going to stop Sonic from accessing the Cosmic Interstate? Because if you do that, then Night of a Thousand Sonics, they're going to lose. And if you go back in time, you know, are you going to stop the Ultimate Annihilator? Because then the Robians don't get their free will back.
True.
And Robotnik is potentially still alive.
Right.
It's all for the greater good, though.
Oh,
the
and
needs
finally,
of the many outweigh the needs of the few.
So that we can all die in a black hole.
That's right. At least
maybe
the planet would say, wait a minute.
I mean, maybe the idea is go back in time and prevent these from even being problems in the first place.
Yeah, just cap Robotnik in the fucking head before he takes his coup.
Shit, just cap him in the head before he gets Nate kicked out of Megapolis.
Yeah, and then the Dark Legion will take over everything.
Bro, actually, yeah.
See, but that's the thing, is...
Fine, go farther back in time and prevent the humans from dissecting that Zorda.
Oh god,
then the Zorda come up with another excuse to kill everyone instead, because that's just how they are.
Fine, go back farther in time and prevent them from even evolving. Okay, actually, that might be...
Yes. This is exactly how the story would go.
Exactly, I know.
We even... Well, we'll see how that goes anyway.
Sonic number 143. More of this. More of the original Freedom Fighters. Part 2.
We do get to see Robotnik again.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Chakon and Mawini. Sonic reveals the truth to Hope about how the original Freedom Fighters were betrayed. Also, they're getting a ring out of the Lake of Rings here.
Yay!
For what purpose? I don't know.
Well, they've mentioned...
Rotor, but...
Well, they've mentioned a ring comes up like every day at like 3 p.m. or something.
I guess you might as well stockpile them. Fucking, I don't know. I care so little about any of this. I'm sorry.
Colonel Stripe flirts
with what is it, Rosie? Yeah,
I think that's Rosie.
Hey, they're drawing Jalala as a chipmunk instead of a cat.
All right, how long is this gonna last?
Although, frankly, she just looks like Sally's mom here.
Yeah.
So apparently, the group somehow finds out that the king was exiled into the void. Hey, wait a second. That's the word I've heard for a long time.
Yeah.
That's the term from Sat AM. Why are they using that term from Sat AM?
Oh, yeah, that's right.
So, they did call it the Void when it first came up in this comic, but then they renamed it to the Zone of Silence, and...
So why did they revert it again?
Magic.
I'm gonna say because... maybe... Chakon was more familiar with Sat AM than the early comics?
It's just a bizarre thing. I have to point it out.
Well, and also, if they got that tip-off, shouldn't they have told somebody if they were going to then go on a potentially suicidal mission to save him? Because it's treated as a reveal in that comic, so they didn't know about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, they were the awesome crack team that had never failed before. Little did they realize their little side story was about to come to an end.
Yeah, because these side stories can't be too long.
Yeah, It was the snake. He's the one who sold him out.
The snake that, for some reason, reminds me of Vinny Vine Sauce.
What? Because he's got a hat?
Yeah, I think it's the hat. A hat with something on it. And for some reason, that just makes me think, oh, it's Vinny.
I want to point out here that they say, why, Scales, why? And he says, because Dr. Robotnik gave me power and control. Besides, I'm a snake. It's totally within my nature. So, what power and control did you get from this? It looks like nothing.
The power to control the fate of your friends.
That's really stupid. And B, what the fuck do you mean it's in my nature because I'm a snake? Duplicity is not an innate racial trait of being this is a really weird thing to put in your comic.
It's obviously just a lazy joke.
Yeah.
But it's funny because it does mean that after Stripes, Scales is the only other character in this group with any amount of characterization, and it's just that they like being
an asshole.
A snake, I guess.
Like being a snake.
Snake supremacy. Well, when you say that it's a joke, that means that me leaning into how obviously predictable it was that he was going to be the betrayer in the last one, I was supposed to do that. They didn't even want it to feel like a surprise.
I guess so.
Guess so, yeah.
And yeah, so the Robotnik roboticizes all of them, and then also throws them in the zone of silence.
Yeah.
This is such a blatant attempt to be like, okay, wait. How did we get them like away so they never showed up again? Okay, we'll banish them and roboticize them so they're double dead, so that they definitely never would have ever come up.
Never come back again.
That makes no sense. Robotnik would not have done that. It's one or the other.
He can use them.
Yeah.
Well, and also, like... why would you roboticize them and throw them in? Like, pick one.
That is my point, yes.
Yeah.
There's no reason to do that.
We've been to the Zone of Silence a bunch of times at this point. We never saw any of that shit.
Yeah, that's the fucking...
It's not too difficult to say they could have just gotten destroyed.
I mean, yeah.
Although this half makes me wonder if they really will show up again.
Well, like, if we were redoing the post-Endgame World Tour arc, if we wanted to have established Nagas more properly as a big bad, then having, among Arachnus and Kodos, also have these guys working for him, if you had planned this from the start, which obviously they didn't.
No, of course not.
Give us a progression of boss battles leading up to Nagas.
Yeah.
Or, alternatively, don't. Frankly, we should have gotten that from Arachnus and Kodos, but now they're just dead, so...
Yeah.
Yeah, so we have never seen them there, and as far as I know, we're never going to, because not even the writers cared for this shit. Like, not even Flynn cared about these stories, I don't think. And we end off on, everybody mourns them, everybody forms the freedom fighters. Again, more building graves for people that aren't dead, technically, but at least this time they can, assume that they're dead.
Right.
Weirdly, we end off on Hope's teacher at school, who I guess is the wife of the tiger dude?
Yeah, it's Colonel Stripe's wife, which... Okay, why was he flirting with Rosie?
Hey, yeah!
Oops.
Maybe during the brief flash period between that and him getting iced, he met this lady. That's really funny. I didn't even consider that. Too tired.
Maybe she was roboticized.
That's actually possible.
Ex-Robian.
But
yeah, maybe she's an ex-Robian.
I prefer to think though that Stripes really is all talk actually, and he's actually not a great person at all.
Oh, yeah, he's all talk and action, but he's kind of a prick.
We have to make this
my
guy
headcanon
to make him interesting.
Well, yes, unfortunately.
That's just a theory, a game theory.
Comic theory. Yeah, that's not funny. All right, well, let's continue to something that is It's more interesting. This is Mobius 25 years later, Father's Day. This is. I'm gonna try
Something.
not to be too mean for this. So,
Okay.
while looking for some direction on the danger Mobius is facing, Knuckles remembers the story of his father's death. Written and drawn by Ken Penders. Because this is a very personal story for him, so he wanted the maximum level of control over it.
Interesting.
Now, weirdly, this anecdote does start with Knuckles permanently parting ways with Archimedes.
It's a weird thing
Yeah,
to
that
throw
was a
in there.
weird thing.
I guess we're getting rid of all of his father figures, I guess is the idea.
I guess so. I mean, it was the whole
Yeah, probably.
thing, but like the whole thing of the Fire Ants is that every Guardian has a Fire Ant companion, and I assume they stay with them. So
Yeah,
Archimedes is just like, nah, fam, I'm out.
it's not like Steppenwolf ever had to say goodbye to Christopheles. Why did I remember that name? Um, Knuckles also, when he gets home, asks where Mace is, which makes me wonder what time period is this? Because
um,
it seems to be after the current era of the series, but Knuckles
yeah.
looks exactly the same as in the present.
I mean, let's be honest; these characters don't really age, and I mean, shit, Sonic barely looks like he's aged.
It's double weird because Laura Leigh has gone back to her old hairstyle because I'm assuming Penders either didn't
Yeah,
know or didn't like Gray's design for her.
right.
I don't know, but Laura Leigh tells him that that Locke is in bad health and they need to go to the hospital. And Mace is nowhere to be found. By the way, like Knuckles asks where he is, and she does not tell him, and he does not come with them to the hospital.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I guess since Locke isn't his dad, he doesn't care.
Speaking of Locke, he has the old design too, so it's obvious none of these characters.
Bro, yeah.
Penders is just using his designs.
Yeah. Well, you say
Yeah.
that. For some reason, the only character with a demonstrably different design in this is Windmacher. Yeah, that caught me off guard. I had to check a lot to make sure I knew who I was looking at. So, we're at the hospital, and they say Locke is dying, and so the long and short of it here is that Locke's chaos energy experiments on himself have given him pancreatic cancer.
Which is
That I
odd. I mean, I guess that kind of confirms that I thought that was just some form of radiation.
I guess. Well, what it is that, this is Penders retelling his story because this is
Right.
him, he's projected his dad. We've talked about this so many times now.
Yeah.
So I assume that's what Ken Penders Sr. died of.
Right.
But it's like, there's no fantasy or sci-fi elements to this. It's just Locke talking to Knuckles and dying. So, yeah, so he's on his deathbed here. They're talking to him, and he's trying to apologize to them, sort of.
I
Yeah.
mean, he
That was.
basically does.
Yeah.
It's weird because he says I'm sorry, but then Lara and Knuckles kind of coddle him, and they say it doesn't matter because he had good intentions. Which we've talked about how we don't really care for that explanation,
Right. Yeah.
but it's very out of step with what we've gotten from Knuckles in the present, just because Penders hasn't been writing him that way. Obviously, I don't expect him. With anybody else, I would expect him to care about what Ballers was doing. Obviously, I don't because it's Penders.
Yeah.
But it's one of those. I'm trying. I really don't want to be too mean because I don't want to really shit on
No.
dead people or people processing their trauma from losing a parent. Certainly,
Of course.
but I can't say that I like this in how it uses the characters because I don't I barely even think that Locke would say a thing like that, much less that Knuckles and Lara would accept it.
Well, I mean, he's dying, so
I
Yeah,
mean, I guess if there's any time to do it, yeah.
Yeah, dying, especially if something like cancer, can help to kind of help to change a person's outlook on things.
Yeah, yeah. And it kind of comes as a surprise, which again I assume is another one of those accurate to real life things where, he's talking to him and before the hospital had been asking them to sign off on surgery to keep him alive longer, but he just sort
Mhm.
of dies in the middle of all this.
Right. Which, I mean, that can happen.
Yeah. And so we end off with future Knuckles laying some flowers at Locke's grave, saying that he was actually a good dad and did everything right, I guess. Um,
Yeah.
and
All according to plan, because you see, Locke has actually just ascended, and now he has fixed all the issues between him and Knuckles,
yeah,
and
look,
now
there he
Knuckles
is.
will look up to him.
Aurora is there with him. It's God
Jesus.
told him how to do the correct thing, and he did it his whole life. Oh boy, yes. So, I don't know, man. Locke was an abusive father this whole time, and the
Yeah,
apology doesn't feel like it makes up for that. And so much
not
of this
really.
comic is Ken Penders retroactively justifying that it sure seems like his dad abused him too. And clearly they made up on his deathbed, but it's like it's one of those where you can feel that it's like I don't know, man.
It is a very weird feeling.
The dedication says he died in 1982, which means that this was more than 25 years for Penders himself after this, or almost 25 years.
Yeah.
You didn't. Maybe you could talk to a therapist during that time instead of working it out in your children's comic book series. Especially for essentially giving kids a really bad message about if their parents suck.
Honestly, yeah.
But this is the last time I think we'll have to majorly talk about this. It's not the last appearance of Locke or anything, but it is the last time that Penders has him interact with Knuckles.
Interesting. Okay.
So that's what it is. That's
It's something.
yeah. Oh, and,
I
and
don't even know what
obviously this
else to
didn't
call it.
progress Mobius 25 years later at all.
Yeah, this is.
Of course.
I'm
I don't know,
gonna
man.
cut it here. We don't want to get
Yeah.
too mean. It's yeah. Um, I think a general rule should be that if you're gonna write something personal into a licensed comic, obfuscate it a little bit. You know, there's
Yeah.
there's a moment like this even in the Flynn era, but it's just kind of a little aside thing. It's like I'm pretty sure that when Ballers wrote that in memoriam for his grandma, I do not think that his grandma died being shot trying to save a man who didn't love her. And when it happens in the Flynn era, I'm pretty sure that Flynn's mom did not die being poisoned by someone from an alternate universe.
Jesus Christ. Okay.
Looking forward to that.
That is an insane sentence.
Anywho,
Jesus Christ.
let's continue on to more 25 years later.
Oh
It's
no.
Sonic number 144.
Oh boy.
It's a whole issue of this.
Well, saying whole issue is a little loose.
Incorrect.
You're playing a little fast and loose with the definition of whole issue.
It's a main issue of this.
Yeah,
it's a
there
main
you
story.
go.
And yeah, this is the only cover that I think has ever been drawn by Butler.
Huh.
And it's fine. It just looks like his normal art, so.
Yeah.
But yes, this is the finale to Mobius 25 years later, under Penders at least. This says, "The future ends today, concluding the greatest epic of their time." Shut up!
Let's go.
Jesus Christ.
I want this to be over.
Yeah,
This
I'm ready for
is-
this shit to be done.
The die is cast, Ken Penders and Stephen Butler. Sonic, Knuckles, Rotor, and Kobar execute a time travel plan to save Mobius from exploding.
Oh boy, it's time travel time, baby.
We start off with Knuckles talking about his dangerous mission and saying, finally, that Lara Sue is going to be the next Guardian. I guess because he thinks he might die.
Uh-huh.
I don't get why Knuckles would have just suddenly gone back on him saying, yeah, no more Guardians.
It's said that when he thought so actually the last story was important. When he thought about his father or whatever, for some reason it made it change his mind.
I guess if he's contemplating his mortality, then yeah.
I guess.
Julie Sue also mentions that he completely lied about this being so dangerous that he could die. So he's just doing that now.
True.
Also, Sally and Julie Sue, I don't know, they seem like they could be assets to a mission like this, but they don't get to come because they're stuck being housewives.
Uh-oh.
We do get one final appearance of Harry the cab driver on the way there, so that's nice.
He can never not be in these stories. Damn it.
I'm actually wondering how many more times he has left to appear in the comic. He's mostly a background character in the Flynn era. But in any case, yes, we've still got the crazy sky lightning. We're taking a different jet. This isn't the Freedom Fighter Special. And we're heading to some place?
Just somewhere in the Badlands.
They just call it the Badlands. They don't really go into it. It's some Eggman ruins though, which makes me think, based on the architecture, perhaps this is the ruins of New Megapolis.
That's kind of what I feel like they're trying to make you think.
I was gonna say either that or Robotropolis, but yeah.
Yeah.
And it's this weird, like, bomb shelter, I guess, which means there's potential that both of Robotnik cities got destroyed by nukes.
Not at all surprising.
But, yeah, they go into the device room. I guess it's a time machine. And Sonic volunteers to go on it. And it's really weird because everyone's like, really? You? And it's like, who the fuck else would do it? Like,
yeah, of course frankly, Sonic is going to be like, yeah.
Frankly, the surprise is that I would have expected Ken Penders to make Knuckles do it, but...
Yeah. I have a feeling it was probably a mandate, like, yeah, Sonic's got to save the day. Come on, Ken.
Well, I mean, the fact that this is the last one was part of a mandate.
Right.
Because Ken only intended this to be the end of the first arc of 25 years later. He just didn't get to write more.
I mean, you can tell this is just the end of an arc, because it doesn't fucking end.
Yes. So let's get to that. So we reveal rather pointlessly that Lara Sue stowed away on the shuttle, but she starts getting Back to the Future out of there, disappearing when the machine activates, because Sonic goes in, and he goes all warbly, and then he disappears...
And then the story ends.
And then we end on a cutaway to the present, whatever that means, where everybody's just kind of like, I wonder what the future will be like. And that's the end.
It's such a nothing ending.
What the heck? This is... How could he call this a conclusion of any sort? I would not have guessed this was anything... But just the next chapter.
Yeah, I can understand how this could be a conclusion in the sense of this is the end of the first arc. But the fact that there's no more...
the cover puts it.
No. I'm guessing that's because it got canceled.
Well, and Ken stayed until number 159, so it's like... Maybe he thought that he'd be able to write more later, but, you know, if they told him that he couldn't, why would he even stick around?
Yeah, maybe he thought he could write he could, like, convince them to let him write more.
Yeah, I don't know, but, what a goddamn waste of time.
It literally, I feel this storyline just went basically nowhere.
Yeah, and...
I feel, I'm, like, offended that it wasted my time.
Yeah.
When Lara Sue disappeared, I was almost like, oh, you know what? There's a big missed opportunity here. This could have tied in to when Lara Sue showed up from the future.
Have this be the reason why
story.
she showed up in the future or in the past.
But the problem is that they would have had to move along a lot of plot points because Knuckles was supposed to be like evil in that timeline or something, and Penders made no effort to do that. So that was a missed up.
He did. It's just that Sonic had the eye explosion button to save him.
True. The eye explosion button.
And well, I want to talk about Kobar in a second. Should we finish the issue first?
We're gonna get Kobar information.
That's more related to this story than any of the rest, so I feel like it's probably better to do it now.
Yeah.
All right. Let's talk about Kobar, because
you did ask us if we could figure out what was going on with him.
Yes, so Lauren, 2 weeks ago, you confirmed you would be on Kobar watch, and then last week he didn't appear in anything. And this is his final appearance in the series. So, can you guess what the deal with him is supposed to be?
No. I mean, he's Lian Daw's... He was Lian Daw's scientist. He's clearly not at this point. So he was up to no good at one point, and I think probably because everyone's like giving stink eyes, he probably is still up to no good, even though he totally seems to be cool. But I can't gather anything beyond that.
I think I have an idea.
Okay, tell me.
Well, so Lauren, you're going for an idea of like something going up with him in the story. I think this has something more to do with like drama between the writers.
Oh, I'm not good at detecting that stuff.
This is something that technically exists as subtext if you really read into it, but you would never know unless Penders told you directly.
Okay, so this is some Penders fuckery. Okay.
And this is my point, is that there is absolutely no way you can notice this. This isn't a game that I set up for you guys to win. So,
all right.
Because literally nobody knew about this except for Penders, including other writers. And even he seems like he could have just made it up in post. So, this is the final issue, Mobius 25 years later under Penders. But early into Flynn's run, he would be asked to finish off this storyline with some actual conflict, some actual action, some stakes. And he chose not to include Kobar as a character, because why the fuck would you? He's, like, nothing. Mm-hmm. And so he has, like, one line of dialogue saying he got killed off in the alternate future that Sonic ends up creating here. And I'm pretty sure they also spell his name as Kobor, so I think they spell it wrong.
Interesting.
Nothing new.
But a few years later, Penders took to his website or social media, what have you, to try and epically own all of the Flynn fans by accusing them of being homophobic for killing Off-Roader's boyfriend.
Oh.
That's made up.
That's gotta be
made up.
Yeah, no, fuck you. Penders just pulled that out of his ass.
I don't think it's entirely pulled out of his ass. There are a line of dialogue here, a smidge of something there that does not imply anything in particular other than somebody is doing something and Rotor has something that he doesn't like to talk about. It's not very clear, and that's why I played this, because who the fuck could even notice that? It's like that Bob's Burgers joke where the one dad is like, they sure make a cute couple, don't they? And Bob is like, they certainly are standing next to each other. These men have had no interactions more intimate than any two random strangers in the series.
Yeah, the interactions have been almost purely business.
And I say all this because I'm the gayest person in the room right now, and you could not force me to believe that this was something that Penders really tried his best at portraying. But that didn't stop him from holding it over other people. It didn't stop him from, like, showing off when he revealed this thing that was so obscure that not even the staff members knew it was supposed to be true. And he's like, oh, multiple people told me they felt represented. And he said that like, this paved the way for gay people in Archie Productions comics. What a fucking joke.
What?
Sonic and Knuckles are gayer than this, and they're not even gay.
That is hilarious. It does make me wonder if that is in fact what he was intending from the start, and he didn't just make it up later to try to get recognition, which is most likely the case in my mind. It makes me wonder if, well, because everyone was like, "Oh, Cobra's no good," so I guess they were
all
setting
the
up.
characters just homophobic.
Yeah, like were the characters going to be homophobic? That seems to be where it was going. If that's true.
Well,
that would be fucking wild if that's where they were going.
Well, that's one of the things that I think means that he may not be completely lying, is that, like, SBO's line in the first 25 years later story is pretty scary when two mad scientists get together. So if you read get together as meaning that...
Oh my god, that's so stupid!
That's something. But again, you know, their level of interaction is, Rotor, I say this with affection and respect, but have you gone mad? It's like, well, I guess if you say that he says it with affect... Like, I don't know. Like,
wait a minute. This also explains why Rotor came in person.
It does do that, yes.
Yeah, it does, yeah. He wanted to come see his boyfriend.
I think the other thing is that Kopar is like 1,000,000 years old. And, like, they've been drawing Rotor as looking too old himself, but Kopar looks on the verge of death.
But Kobar's the second to last page, Kobar's mouth looks like it's falling off.
It's like a droopy foreskin. It's gross. It's like
Christ.
I guess Rotor likes the silver foxes, and by foxes I mean echidnas. But
does he even count as a silver fox?
I don't ask me how it works in Sonic World.
This is so fucking stupid.
Unbelievably dumb, but I have to thank you for bringing this up.
Yes, thank you. God damn.
It is really funny. God
damn.
Yes, stand, tangle, and whisper, please.
I mean, yes, I will stand them every day.
Agreed, even though I don't know anything about either of them.
Another case of characters that are extremely gay despite not being allowed to be gay.
Don't worry, it'll happen one of these days.
You know what? Night and Dawn get to be gay, so they get to be canon. You don't even know.
It's only a matter of time. Nope.
No.
They're birds. It's a whole thing. Anyway.
That does not explain anything.
Yeah.
That is the end of that is 25 years later.
That might be the best way for us to end it.
Yeah.
Bro.
That is, yeah.
Holy shit.
But we do have one other story in this issue, and I'm interested to see what you guys think of it, because it does some good things and some bad things, in my opinion. This was
actually this was a more interesting story.
Love and Loss. Written by Romy Chacon, drawn by John Gray. And I have heard word through various sources that are not John Gray, but might be true, that Gray asked to rewrite a bunch of this story. I don't know how true that is, especially since Gray is the guy that people keep accusing of having altered the stories when he didn't, but they say that in a more apologetic way here, but...
Right. Okay.
So the plot of this is that the women of Knothole Village read the advice columns of response to their romantic woes.
Right. I mean, this is a pretty standard trope in things, or in, like, sitcom stuff. You have the advice column and stuff.
Yeah, the Dear Abby.
Yeah, exactly.
Dear Allie.
What's sad is that at this point, I'm not surprised by this, but really, why are we doing this?
I can understand the questioning why this exists.
It's a heck of a thing, because, like, we're so done with a lot of the ships here, or at least we would be if this didn't open some of them back up in certain ways.
Yeah.
It also marks, I guess it was last issue, marking the return of Josh Ray on colors, which is just not as good as Jason Jensen.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I guess we'll take these maybe one at a time.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's how the story takes them.
Yeah, so we start off with Bunny, who is struggling because she misses Antoine, but Antoine sucks right now.
Yeah, Antoine's...
Well put.
Yeah,
it's pretty rough, honestly, because the visuals on Bunny, like, she's in agony, and it's a little upsetting.
Bunny's miserable. Like, this has been a different day. It might have gotten me to shed a couple tears.
Yeah, I don't know, because she's saying, I still care about him, but he was so changed by all this stuff that he went through. And Allie's response is, it's like kind of reassuring, but not super helpful. It's basically just like, give it time, I guess.
Basically,
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the responses to me don't feel great.
It's annoying because, she says open up to him, keep trying, but we get so little insight into what's going on with this version of Antoine that it's like,
Right.
Well,
I don't
this
even.
version of Antoine doesn't even make sense, in my opinion. So,
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, we don't know what happened to him, and it seems like such a completely different change.
I also think it's weird how it says to expect a male to come to you to talk about their feelings is not real life.
Just say man, don't say male.
Well, and also it's like, certainly if we're talking about, masculine standards, that's definitely a
Yeah.
part of it. But it's like you shouldn't reinforce that.
No, I mean,
yeah.
that is an unfortunate thing. That gets taught to a lot of guys.
Yeah. So, 0 out of 1 so far. And next
Mm.
is Mina caught between her new guy Ash and fantasizing about Sonic rebounding off of Sally to her. Why are we back here, guys? I thought we were done with this too.
Yeah, I'll say this. This one kind of made me see Mina in a slightly different light, and kind of made me feel bad for her.
It's better in that she. I think the advice is better here because
The advice is definitely better here.
Ali says basically that you need to consider what these people mean to you and why you even want Sonic. And I think that that's a good point because I think that Mina really just likes Sonic because he saved her and her family.
Yes, that's exactly why. It's a case of developing a crush on someone that helped you.
And the way that he lives his life is not something she's really compatible with.
Right.
So,
But
but it's like I feel like we kind of hashed that out already when
we
she
did.
almost died.
We did, but I feel like seeing her letter, she thought he was dead, and in that time, she's probably, for the most part, entirely gotten over him, and now suddenly he's back, and that's going to start causing these emotions that she thought she'd gotten rid of to start bubbling up again. So,
yeah,
I don't know. It makes me feel bad for her at the end of the day, especially that, as we know, she was just written as shipping war bait.
Well, and unfortunately, I can never ever see her in any other light. So all this says to me is you can never be safe. You never know when Mina might strike again. For now, we'll put her on the shelf, but
I mean,
watch
to be
out.
fair, she ends up making the decision
yeah,
that
this
I
this
think
is the thing is that
we
we
want her
have
to.
regressed and sort of progressed at the same time. If you're saying that this is like a momentary lapse in her confidence, that makes it a little bit better because she does.
I think that's really. She ends up calling Ash and setting up a date with him.
Yeah.
Also, their date's at fucking midnight.
Yeah, it's really late. Yeah, she woke him up in the middle of the night to call him.
And he just says, "Yeah, no, I was just snoozing."
Well, it's pretty apparent that the guy is devoted.
Oh yeah, he's clearly devoted to her, which like he's definitely the better choice at this point.
Yeah, and at the very end, this last shot has, I don't know if that's a photo of Sonic or just like a drawing of a Sonic-shaped head that she's tossed in the trash.
I think that's it. I doubt she would actually throw away a picture that she might have. Like, she had a picture with Sonic. I doubt she'd throw that away.
Yeah, so...
But, I think calling this, like, maybe not momentary, but, like, Sonic coming back has kind of made her question her relationship and if it's where she wants to be. And this is her confirmation, like, no, I'm where I want to be. I think that's mostly fine.
Yeah, it's less depressing than the bunny one, at least.
Yeah, the bunny one's gut-wrenching. This kind of has a mostly fine ending.
Yeah, well, and, again, other than Ash being kind of a dickhead, I don't think we're gonna have much more between Mina and Sonic, so...
To be honest, Ash only really seemed like he was a dick, because he
feels threatened by Sonic. That much
exactly. Yeah, he knew me. He probably knows Mina had some amount of feelings for Sonic, and feels threatened by the fact that, oh shit, he's back. I'm not losing my girlfriend.
Yeah. So third up is Amy, which is hilarious because we have had absolutely no exploration into her and Sonic in these comics.
I mean, it's just been all we've really gotten is that, oh, it's a childhood crush.
And that's all it is. This is
and
my
that's
favorite.
All it should be. Yeah, and that's literally.
Story
well, and sure. Amy even basically says, "Yeah, I've had this silly crush on this guy that I thought it was love," and I think that's the best way to describe Amy and Sonic's relationship.
Yeah, this is the funny thing, which is that Allie offers what I think is good advice, which is that Amy is chasing a fruitless dream and trying to rush into a relationship without considering anything about Sonic's feelings.
And then she just gags at it and throws it away.
Yeah, she rejects it wholesale. Which is...
What the fuck? It's exactly what Amy wanted to hear, and she's
kind of good, yeah. Like, it's like, I don't like this aspect of Amy's character, but I can't say that this is wrong.
No, this is entertaining. This is funny. I like this.
And I guess this is, right in the middle of the unrelenting monster saga for Amy, so, in the games and all that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, well, see, that was what I was thinking. It's like, I had to laugh at this part because it's right in the middle of hyper-serious drama.
Right.
And then the writers are like, let's just put Amy here, who irrationally chases after Sonic no matter what.
Yeah, putting Amy here does make sense. But also, it's fucking her reaction to it is just fucking hilarious.
Yeah,
well, the writers try to be serious for a moment, and they're like, "Oh, wait a minute. There's only one way Amy can react to this." Oh well.
The clash between Archie Sonic seriousness and Sega Sonic silliness is on full display here.
Yeah.
And so, of course, as you may expect, the final entry is Princess Sally, wondering if what she did in 134 was the right move.
Jesus, now we're going to that, huh?
So, obviously, we understand everything that happened there.
Yeah.
We don't agree with it, obviously, but the question for me is, how much does the comic know that? How much does Sally know that? How much does the comic want us to know how much Sally knows about that? And the answer is, I just don't think the script is quite smart enough to show it.
Yeah.
But it is something, because Allie, quote-unquote, says that Sally probably wasn't being fair to him, and definitely needs to bring some fucking joy back into her life.
That's fucking true.
Though she does need to give it time to smooth it over. I don't know. I think for me it's that, well, for one thing, I like that Sally's codename here is Royally Scared. It should be Royally Scarred, frankly. But so I guess it's just that I don't necessarily expect that Sally would be able to recognize that her anger and pain is not entirely her fault. But that's where the weird twist of this issue kind of gets in the way of that.
Yeah, this twist is fucking weird.
Because this whole time, the Dear Allie column has been written by Sally, meaning that she's talking to herself here.
Well, she set up a decoy so people would stop asking questions.
What? What?
I assume tabloids and shit have been bugging her. But yeah.
How the fuck does her giving herself romantic advice work in that?
No, that's the thing. In her mind, she's not actually giving herself any advice.
So I guess she just came to this conclusion on her own then?
I think what it is, she's just she's writing something that she thinks other people will want to hear. I don't know if the matter if she actually believes what she's writing.
What?
Well, I think what we're supposed to think is that the writer, I don't know, the comic writers are smarter than they actually are. I don't fucking know.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a weird way to execute this.
Well, also, Sally is probably the worst person to be writing relationship advice anyway. Like, goddamn, girl.
Yeah, so, I don't know what to make of this. Sally looks better by the end.
Yeah, Sally looks a lot happier at the end, which, alright,
if this is some form of self-therapy, I guess you have worse options.
I mean, you could also just go to a therapist.
There are no therapists in Knothole.
Damn. Actually, it wouldn't surprise me if there are no therapists in Knothole.
Yeah. So that's that story.
The story was honestly, in my opinion, the story was perfectly fine without that weird ass twist at the end.
I did not like this. This is just. I don't need more of this.
Yeah, I mean, fair. The relationship stuff bugs me. I don't like it, but if they're going to put it in here, I think they did a decent job. Other than this twist making absolutely no sense.
They didn't make any of the characters look absolutely monstrous, other than Amy as a joke, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, that lines up with Amy still mentally being a child.
However that works, whether that...
Yeah.
But I think Yeah, and I get what Lauren says, because it's just like, I'm so tired of this. I get
it.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
I'm not sure even if in the Flynn era I'm ever going to be very compelled by romance in Sonic. I will say
series doesn't need romance.
If this was secretly rewritten by John Gray, that totally works against the conspiracy theorists saying that he had a secret Sonami agenda, because he very much humanizes Sally compared to what Ballers did with her.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know. We can't spin our wheels too much. Let's move on to our last issue of the day. This is Sonic the Hedgehog number 145. Shadow returns. Where the hell has he been, though? Just hanging around?
Don't forget, Sonic doesn't stand a chance.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay.
We also get one of the few times Penders has ever drawn Shadow in the title page here, along with his recap of his backstory.
Oh, interesting.
Well, frankly, as a Penders drawing, it's not that bad.
No, that Shadow drawing, I didn't even realize it was Penders. It's a pretty solid Shadow drawing.
Well, and, in kind, this story, Shadows of Hope, is written by Ken Penders, now back in the lead writer position, unfortunately.
Oh, boy!
Drawn by Ron Lim. And I'll say this, out of all of Ron Lim's stories, I think this is the most well-drawn one from a character perspective.
Yeah, no, this story, does not look that bad.
It kind of looks like Axer's.
Yeah, I can appreciate that. Apparently Ron Lim can just draw Shadow more than Sonic.
Yeah.
Or better than Sonic.
Yeah, so, while investigating Hope's potential connection to Maria, Shadow is captured by a mysterious figure. And
so we're finally following up on that little
bit. Yeah, they brought that up, and then they've done literally nothing with it until now.
Yeah, we first heard about this a year ago in Universe.
Yeah, it was before Sonic disappeared. Also, in answer to a zillion reader requests, according to the first page here. I guess, first page.
Yeah.
Apparently, a lot of people wanted to see this.
The writers wanted to see... The readers wanted to see Shadow, and I don't blame them.
Oh, yeah, sure. I want to see Shadow. Shadow's rad.
Yeah. But in...
I want to see him steal candy from babies.
Yeah.
In SA 2.5, Shadow was, passively curious about Hope looking like Maria. Right. And now, a year after that, he's
finally following up on it.
Well, he's kind of just, spying on her, though. He's not
he's just stalking Hope. He's just stalking Hope, which is also fucking weird.
Yeah, I don't know if I like that. But we quickly distract from that because a hooded dude shows up and kidnaps Shadow by teleport, and Hope accidentally.
Gets him around the ankle with a rope.
Yeah, it's really weird, because
he doesn't even get Shadow with that. Shadow just breaks it.
Yeah, well, it's he's like, I need your help, and then Shadow's like, no, I don't care, and he's like, alright, well, too bad. And yeah, Shadow breaks the rope that trips him up, goes to punch the guy, but then they get kidnapped, and he flips him over, and puts him in like a vault. I don't know. He like traps him in a tube.
He's in a chamber, but he's not bathed in warm, soothing nutrients, which is a very strange sentence.
Yeah. I don't even know exactly where they are here.
I can guess where it might be based on later information.
I mean,
well,
yeah, we can guess.
Well, so the hooded dude takes off his hood, and it is revealed to be Locke. Because
this
it's
absolutely shocked me, and then I was like, "Oh wait a minute! This story is written by Penders."
Well, also
because it's completely out of left field.
It kind of lines up with Locke's character.
So
does it? Why would he kidnap Shadow? That's so random.
Shadow,
nobody
needs his chaos.
Interacted with.
He needs his chaos powers, I would assume. Maybe the key to assist me in my goal of finding my family, a family everyone believes to be dead. What the fuck is he talking about?
The Guardians.
Talking about the Guardians? Okay, I thought he was talking about the Brotherhood.
Yeah, so I think that this is massively in character for Locke, but here's what I think is going on here. So, Echidna Society on Angel Island has been almost completely destroyed now. You know,
right.
it is in ruins. And so, what's really funny is that I don't know if how much this is intended, but it's perfectly in character for Locke, because at the end of Return to Angel Island, he kind of shits on Knuckles for not sticking around to help rebuild and guard the Emerald. But now Locke has just gone off on his own to look for the Brotherhood instead of helping rebuild.
Yeah. Well, why wouldn't Locke stay behind to guard the Emerald?
Well, that's why I think he wants Shadow. I think he wants to put him there.
He wants to make Shadow the Guardian.
Well, he knows he's strong. He knows
that's true.
You know, I'm not gonna fucking sit by that rock. I need to find my grandpa's.
And my grandpa's, yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, I guess maybe that's possible. It honestly, yeah, it's not super clear why he wants Shadow. I assume he was going to elaborate, but Shadow doesn't care. He doesn't listen to people talk for a while.
That's true.
He has one thing he wants to do when he's attacked, and that is totally kill whoever's attacking him.
Right.
Yeah, Hope is like, no, stop, let him go. Whatever you're doing is not good. And Shadow gets like a flashback for some reason. I guess because he's in a tube and there's a girl who looks like Maria. But so he breaks out, absolutely bodies Locke, who then, I guess, like telekinesis him into the ceiling. But
yeah, so Locke also has chaos nonsense. But I have to actually give Penders credit here, because it's like, oh yes, I was definitely the more capable combatant here with my chaos powers, but I lacked one key thing, killer instinct. So yeah, Shadow just doesn't hold back at all.
Right.
And that allows him to almost kill Locke. He would have. If
Shadow definitely would have killed Locke. He's already made it clear that, Sonic doesn't kill, but I do.
Yeah, well, and he stops because Hope is like, no, you don't have to kill him, please stop. And that, for some reason, makes him angry at her, and he's like, you're not Maria. I don't need any friends. And I don't know if I read that as being something Shadow. If we're talking start of SA2 Shadow, yes. But this is a Shadow who never lost his memories, and who has been through, supposedly, the arc of Adventure 2. So it's weird that he is like this. I can understand him wanting to kill Eggman, because Eggman sucks. Locke is just some guy to him.
Yeah.
Well, we don't know a whole lot about what Shadow has been doing.
That's, I think, the biggest problem. We've barely seen him, and thus, we don't know what he's been doing, so we don't know what kind of arc he's gone through. If he's gone through any.
Yeah. And, Shadow just leaves, and that's the whole story.
Yeah.
There wasn't a whole lot going on here, which is par for Penders, honestly.
Yeah, great. We're back to this with big boy stories.
Like, it seems like it's set up in possibly a longer story, because we don't get many explanations here. But, honestly, the action wasn't half bad, in my opinion.
Yeah, it wasn't that bad.
There's nothing that super pisses me off, I guess. It's another fragment, which I don't like. Speaking of which, Training Day is our second story for this issue, written by Ballers and drawn by Al Bigley, and it's just Dr. Eggman debriefing his robots on Sonic and Friends.
We do get a great image of Dr. Robotnik where he's a fucking Wojak on the front.
It does look like the pointing meme, yeah.
That's the only part of this story I remember.
Well, because
the only part of this story worth remembering.
Honestly, yeah.
Here. It's like this is a recap on who the characters are.
Yeah.
This is a darn shame, because the first Eggman story was fabulous, and now they've just devolved into just Eggman sits around and talks. It's not. The funny thing is that can be good, but it's only either setting up or paying off some sort of large plot when I'd like to see Eggman boast.
Well,
but
it feels like it's only good when he has someone to play off of.
That's also true. He's just talking to his mindless machines here.
Yeah.
We need Snively back. Snively is the key to all this.
I don't understand why Snively's gone. Why'd they get rid of Snively?
At this point,
you've ever had.
Eggman has just gotten to be. I don't want to call him boring, but he's gotten to be very underwhelming. Yeah, we really needed someone there for him to play off of, and
we need a shake.
Snively is is the best person for that because they play off of each other so well.
It's funny because you can feel like how little substance there is to this. Because, like, it basically just explains who Sonic, Tails, and everything Amy are. Amy hasn't gotten fucking play in these comics. She got to do one fight.
Yeah, well, granted, that one fight was pretty brutal.
Yeah. He should give him a warning about Shadow. He should recognize how much Shadow is a threat, especially when Shadow is going to be relevant to the upcoming arc, so...
Oh, he is? Oh, nice.
Yeah,
I didn't know that. So there's no out of universe explanation for this, because the other solo Eggman stories had reasons, but there's no reason for this that I can see that existing.
Yeah, this feels like a chalk-on story is what it is. It feels like it was just slotted in because they needed something here.
Yeah.
Yeah, like if we have, only so many Baller stories left before he's gone, it sucks that this had to be one of them because it's nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah, honestly.
But we do have one last story for today, which is called Harbinger, written by Penders, drawn by Don Best. We have not seen in a while. The Freedom Fighters' period of relaxation is put to an end when Tails and Rotor discover some mysterious seismic interference from across the globe. They're playing darts.
Yeah.
Sonic and Bunny actually are hanging out with Ash and Mina here, which is okay, I guess. Better to show the characters just being friends, even if Ash and Sonic bicker a little bit.
Yeah,
which worries me because I'm like, nope, we're not done with this, not quite, and you never know what might happen.
Yeah, they don't exactly get along, but what's actually important here is that Tails and Rotor discover some weird seismic activity.
Yeah,
Tails has this weird moment. He's like reading a book.
He like senses it.
He's like,
a little
I always thought that the kingdom relied less on technology because we didn't want to be like Robotnik, but actually there's something else at play here. It doesn't come up again. Maybe it'll come up again later, but it's just a completely random thing.
It is.
Yeah.
Also, they kind of don't rely on technology less. They're plenty technological. I don't know what he's talking about.
No, yeah, and that's going to come up next arc, if I remember correctly. It's a really stupid moment.
It's been a long time since we wrestled with that bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, but, well, basically, all of this activity is coming from some kind of facility, basically on the other side of the planet, as far as I understand. And so we all gotta get set up to go there, except Sally, because she doesn't get to come. And when Sally and Sonic say goodbye, Sally says something along the lines of, "Man, I love Sonic so much." And I'm realizing that this is part of the reason that Sally and Sonic's like shipping problems stuck so hard with the fan base, is because Ballers only had a couple issues after he wrote it, which meant that it had to be cleaned up by other writers, and all of them were very, very poorly equipped to do so.
Right.
Which is not to say that Ballers would have done a great job either. I'm just saying I trust him more than Penders on this because I hate how Penders writes women.
Fair enough.
Also, Shadows at the place they're headed.
I forgot about that because it's just one thing at the very end randomly.
Yeah. So yeah, this is an entire issue that's just setting up other stuff basically.
Yeah, which I guess isn't a bad thing, but I'd appreciate if something like actually kind of happened.
Yeah, I would like for there to be a beginning and middle and end to stories, even if they don't conclude everything. But
sure. I mean, I guess the first story kind of did.
Listen, out of all the issues we've done today, I was so utterly bored during the original Freedom Fighters story and the Mobius 25 years later crap, so that makes this the second best issue of the episode.
Yeah, that's definitely true.
Yeah.
And yeah, that is our really, really unsatisfying conclusion to tonight.
Damn.
So
tune in for more, hopefully not as unsatisfying comics.
Next time on Deep Dive Zone, we have my least favorite issue of the comics.
I'm so excited.
But it'll be spectacular, I'm sure.
An arc that I used to like and maybe don't as much now, and also two of the issues that I actually own physically, which doesn't really mean anything in particular. But that's it. Thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please feel free to share, like, comment, and subscribe. If you have any questions, comments, criticism, or feedback, you can find us at any of the links in the link tree in the description. Thank you to my buddies being here for recording this with me. Thank you all for watching. Have a great night. We'll see you next week, and take care.